Hi everyone, I'm Bybreen Samuels, and today I want to share some ideas in terms of why I think it's a bad idea to dye your grey hair and to chop years, decades off your CV. So we're living in a time when our whole world of work has been, disrupted, particularly by COVID. But actually, let's think about the companies today and in the future. And if you're a baby boomer who's trying to find work, or you're already in work and you're looking to broaden your horizons with a new opportunity, the world of work continues to change and the people leading it have a different approach. And so our contemporary, as well as future leaders, are millennials. And millennial leaders and decision makers really don't care whether you have grey hair or not. And so I want to bring to your attention some of our connections between the echo boomers, who are millennials born between 1980 and 1996, and then us as boomers. So the late great guerrilla marketer J. Conrad Levinson, what he did was he identified a number of characteristics that pertain to the different demographic groups, from the silent generation through to Gen Z. Now, in particular, the millennial generation, some of their characteristics are they are civic minded, they are relational, and they are collaborative. Also, they're really comfortable. They take an informal approach to leadership. So they're not fazed by authority figures, i.e., older people or people who have got expertise or even grey hair. They're really not fazed by that at all because they have boomer parents, and their boomer parents, told them that you're not less than anybody else. So they take a very relaxed approach. Now, if you think of us as boomers, Jay identified some of our characteristics, and they include being moralistic, educated, and team orientated. So you can already begin to see some of the connections between boomers and millennials and how bringing those into the world of work could be really, really beneficial. So this sense of teamwork, harmonizing, how collectively can we begin to implement the vision of a particular company. Now, boomers are actively encouraged to chop years, decades off their CVs and only present, let's say, the last 10 to 15 years on your CV. But if you're a baby boomer, you've actually been in your adult life, you've lived 4, 5, 6 decades, or maybe beyond. And so, in those the minimum of 4 decades that you've lived, you've developed domain expertise, you've developed competences, you've developed insights, you've developed specialisms. As boomers, we have been exposed to business practices, business operations, business processes. We have an affinity and an understanding of how people work, what makes the mind work. Human psychology, we really are immersed in. So if you start chopping decades off your CV, and we're living into a world where millennials are decision makers and millennials are leaders, then they're not going to see your intrinsic value if you only have the last 5, 10, 15 years on your CV. And it's for those reasons why I really take a staunch position. I'm actively and proactively pro-aging. As you can see, my grey hairs are coming through very nicely and wouldn't even dream of dyeing them, except for green. And the only reason why I say that is because green is my favourite colour. So if I wake up one day and think, green's my favourite colour, I'm going to dye my hair. But I haven't and I won't because it's grey. And so I believe you're doing yourself a disservice, because if you dye your hair for trying to fit into an environment that really doesn't align with you, then you're kind of undervaluing yourself. You're not seeing the intrinsic value in who you are. And then if you shave off years and decades of experience, you can't contribute in a way that's going to be meaningful to millennial leaders. The whole idea is that you start to examine your domain expertise, look at it and just think, okay, I kind of gain this expertise in the traditional model of work. That's okay. But actually, what can I extract from that? Which bits of my domain expertise that I've gathered over a 4 decade period that I could actually offer? Yeah, so it's my value proposition that I could teach or educate. How can I bring that wisdom of having gathered insights over so many decades into an environment that's more contemporary, that's technologically driven, and which is really how you can contribute to a millennial led environment. But then again, what is it that you could learn from millennials? You know, they are breastfed on technology. So it's about how you can develop your technological nous, but you're bringing an invaluable set of credentials and authority, but you're humble enough to understand that there's an opportunity for this quid pro quo to take place between you as a boomer and as well as a millennial. Now, a company that's doing it and has done it so well is Airbnb. So I remember back in 2009, 10, around about that time, they were on the front cover of Time magazine, and they were seen as these upstarts who are coming to disrupt the hospitality industry. And we can look back over a 12, 13-year period, and they certainly have. Currently, they have a market cap of $73 billion. Ooh, a lot of money. But anyway, that's what they're worth. And one of the things they recognize that as millennials, they're born in the very early 80s. Yes, they had this kind of very intrepid, entrepreneurial, technologically driven approach, but there was a lack of, the gravitas that comes with having lived an experienced cycle. So what they did was they brought in this expert in the hospitality industry who'd also or had already, kind of built and developed a very thriving business. He brought them on board. They brought him on board, and together, this beautiful fusion of technology meets strategy, meets wisdom, meets operations, fused. And so there was this beautiful quid pro quo. So a company like Airbnb they've got fantastic pro-aging recruitment policies, practices that embraces older people, grey hairs, and all of that wisdom. Just think about, some of their product offerings. They even have, offerings to accommodate senior travel. So you're seeing their approach infused through their brand. So as you're on your job search, maybe step away from LinkedIn and, these online platforms to apply for jobs, and actually start to think far more creatively. Because when you're applying online, the algorithm kicks in. It can see when you went to school, university, when you graduated, or if you didn't graduate, the kind of history of your jobs. And then it's like, they've lived beyond the last 15 years in terms of their professional world. But actually, where are millennial leaders? Where are they? Well, they're everywhere. But if you think back over the last 10, 12, 15 years and the emergence of these new companies that have disrupted corporations, that's where you should begin to be paying attention. And also take account of millennials are social pioneers. They're the ones who are saying to companies, whether they're leaders or not, actually, why should I come and work at your company? So in a sense, they're asking companies to pitch to them, because a job title and a salary is not enough to hold the attention of millennials. And I think therein lies some nuggets that you could begin to apply as a baby boomer who's searching for new horizons, new opportunities. And intrinsic within that is you have so much that you can contribute. You just need to start figuring out what your domain expertise is, how that could be packaged and presented, and then offered in the guerrilla, unorthodox way of finding opportunities. They're not only on LinkedIn. So I will leave that with you, but I also want you to share your ideas and share your experiences of what it's been like as an older worker. or an older job seeker who is feeling the burden and the pressure of dyeing your grey hair, and what impact does that have on you? And, you know, because that strips away your confidence, no doubt. I'm speculating around that, as I'm somebody who hasn't and would never dye my hair. But actually, what have been your experiences together with this sense of, you know, how are you using your CV? Actually, the question is it time now to kill off the CV? Maybe that's for another vignette that I'll share with you. But I'd love to hear your experiences, so feel free to pop them in the comments section below this video. So take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.